There is a place on Earth that holds humanity's greatest secrets, a region where faith and history blend in a way that defies everything we think we know. We are about to unravel the mysteries of the Bible and enter the most sacred location on the planet, a piece of land disputed by iron and fire for millennia. Prepare to question your beliefs and discover what is truly hidden in the pages of the most widely read book of all time. This land is considered the center of the world for billions of people, a territory promised as a paradise of milk and honey, yet one that bears the scars of endless battles. It is fascinating to think how such a small area, comparable to the size of a tiny state, has attracted the attention of empires and religions throughout all of human history. The divine promise of prosperity seems to collide violently with the bloody reality that has marked every inch of this sacred soil. Our journey begins by investigating whether the stories we have heard since childhood are historical facts or ancient legends that shaped our civilization. We will dive deep into scripture and archaeological evidence to understand if God truly gave this land to a chosen people, and what price was paid for that possession. The secrets we are about to reveal could completely change the way you view the Holy Land and the origins of our faith. Have you ever stopped to think about the irony that the three major religions of the world, which preach peace and love, fight brutally for the same piece of ground? Jews, Christians, and Muslims claim this land as their divine heritage, turning the birthplace of their beliefs into a perpetual battlefield. Jerusalem, the Golden City, is the epicenter of this dispute, where every stone tells a story of devotion and also of bloodshed in the name of the divine. It all starts with the figure of Abraham, a man called to found a new nation who received a promise that would echo through eternity. But the scriptures reveal orders that leave us perplexed, such as commandments to eliminate entire populations to purify the land. This narrative of violent conquest raises difficult questions about the nature of the divine will described in the Old Testament and how it has influenced the conflicts we see in the news to this day. The complexity increases when we look at the sacred sites that overlap, creating a tension that can be felt in the air. Where one king built a temple, another prophet ascended to the heavens, and a Messiah was crucified, all within a radius of a few kilometers. It is as if there is a spiritual gravitational force pulling all of humanity to this specific point on the map, where heaven and earth seem to touch in a unique and dangerous way. The saga continues with the epic story of the Exodus, the spectacular escape from slavery in Egypt, guided by Moses through miracles and plagues. The biblical narrative tells us about the parting of the Red Sea and the arduous journey through the desert, but modern historians desperately search for physical proof of this mass migration. The lack of archaeological evidence in the Sinai desert forces us to confront faith with science, asking if millions of people really wandered there without leaving a trace. Perhaps the 40 years in the desert were not just a lost trek, but a death sentence for an entire generation that doubted. The idea that God needed to purify his people, eliminating the unbelievers before allowing entry into the promised land, adds a dark and powerful layer to the story. Moses, the great liberator, was also barred at the end, showing that divine rules were implacable even for the most faithful servants, creating an unmatched human drama. And what if the true story is different from what we learned in Sunday school and the numbers were symbolic? Some scholars suggest that a much smaller group made this crossing, which would explain the absence of massive physical traces in the sands of time. Regardless of the size of the crowd, the story of liberation and the search for a home became the foundation of a people's identity and shaped Western culture in a way that no other narrative ever has. At the heart of this search is the legendary Ark of the Covenant, the most sacred and mysterious object of all, said to contain the 10 Commandments themselves. The Ark represented the physical presence of God among men, a powerful weapon and a symbol of the covenant that mysteriously disappeared from history. Treasure hunters and archaeologists scour the world in search of this artifact, for finding it would be the definitive proof of the truth of biblical stories. The disappearance of the Ark after the destruction of Solomon's temple spawned countless conspiracy theories and legends about its secret hiding place. Could it be hidden in deep caves beneath the Temple Mount or taken to distant lands for protection? The simple possibility of its existence keeps the flame of curiosity alive and the hope that, one day, physical proof of the divine connection will be revealed to the world. While the Ark remains hidden, the search for sacred relics has never stopped, moving the faith of millions and generating heated disputes. Every archaeological discovery in the region has the potential to validate millennial claims or light the fuse of new religious conflicts. It is a game of spiritual chess where pieces of pottery and ancient inscriptions are worth more than gold, for they carry the weight of divine legitimation over the land. For Christians, the land gains special meaning through the life and death of Jesus, transforming Jerusalem into the central stage of humanity's salvation. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, built over the traditional site of the crucifixion and resurrection, is a labyrinth of chapels disputed by different denominations. It is curious to see how the keys to this church have been kept by Muslim families for centuries, an ironic arrangement that maintains a fragile peace among the Christians who worship there. The city is not just a place of memory, but a waiting point for the prophesied return of the Messiah on the Mount of Olives. The belief that the end times will begin there attracts faithful from all over the world who wish to be in the front row of the apocalypse. This messianic expectation carries an intense energy, transforming every political event in the region into a possible sign of the end times described in the Book of Revelation. But Jerusalem also pulses with Islamic faith, revering the Dome of the Rock as the site of the Prophet Muhammad's ascension to heaven. Tradition recounts a miraculous night journey connecting Mecca to Jerusalem, intertwining the destiny of Muslims with the same sacred rock of the Jews. This overlap of sacred narratives on the same square meter creates a theological and political Gordian knot that seems impossible to untie without causing a global collapse. The root of all this dispute can be traced back to an ancient family feud between the sons of Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac. What began as a domestic rivalry between brothers for inheritance and paternal blessing turned into a global geopolitical conflict. The Bible and the Quran share these figures, showing that deep down, everyone is a cousin fighting for the legacy of the same patriarch, divided by different interpretations of the same divine promise. This genealogical connection should be a reason for unity, but historically it has served to justify exclusion and war for possession of the land. The story of Hagar and Ishmael being cast out into the desert echoes to this day in claims of legitimacy over who is the true heir to the promise. Understanding this complex family tree is fundamental to comprehending why peace seems so distant and why emotions are so visceral when speaking of this territory. Many believe that the stage for the final outcome of human history is already set in the valley of Megiddo, the biblical site of Armageddon. Prophecies speak of a cataclysmic battle between good and evil that will take place in these strategic hills of Israel. It is frightening to think that texts written thousands of years ago still influence the foreign policy of powerful nations and the future vision of millions of people. The obsession with the end times and the reconstruction of the temple in Jerusalem adds fuel to a fire that is already burning intensely. For some, war is a necessary prerequisite for final redemption, which makes any attempt at diplomatic peace an almost impossible challenge. The prophecy becomes a kind of script that many are eager to see fulfilled, regardless of the devastating consequences this may bring to the real world. In the end, perhaps the true promised land is not a physical place marked by borders, but a state of mind that we need to reach. If history has taught us anything, it is that the search for exclusive possession has only generated pain and suffering over the centuries. Perhaps the true divine test is to see if we are capable of sharing the sacred and living in harmony transforming the land of conflict into an example of peace for all humanity. If you were fascinated by these secrets and want to continue unraveling the mysteries of history with us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now. Leave a like if this video opened your mind and comment down below. Do you think there will ever be peace in the Holy Land? Share this video with that friend who loves theories and history, and we'll see you on the next adventure in search of the truth.